Welcome, comrades, back to my Minecraft survival series. This is episode 4. I've travelled quite far and wide across the vast expanse of my world in order to arrive at this taiga biome. As I have alluded to over the series, I am in grave necessity of some spruce in order to get started on my house, or at least get closer to completing it, because spruce wood will be one of the major elements of construction. So I was able to kind of use my coordinates to walk a couple thousand blocks, and I've used up all my food as well along the way to find this biome. I'm gonna get lopping. I brought a couple of iron axes with me, and I also intend to take some taiga or spruce saplings back with me to the home, so I can create a little plantation as well to keep the flow and the access to spruce resources constant, so I'm not going to have to come back out here again. I might have walked in the wrong direction. I kind of went the way that was not in the direction of the jungle. I went the opposite way, and it's worked out, I guess. I haven't been able to see how large this biome is. It doesn't appear to be that large. I kind of came from over there. And then there's also this very interesting biome here, and I wouldn't even be able to describe to you what that is. It appears to be one of the new ones. It looks like a really worn and weathered forest. There's some trees there that are no doubt haunted. I'm going to be definitely checking that out after this. Just to see, there might be something interesting, and it might have some sort of application to my own home if there's a block there that catches my eye. Yeah, as I said, the more recent updates on this game, I haven't been following all of the notes religiously, so I think some things I've obviously missed, and I think it would have been the last update, or maybe even the update before that really addressed biomes. I think they added more biomes and they restructured existing biomes, which I think was a great idea, because they definitely needed an update and a bit more attention. That is the existing biomes. And I suppose we have new biomes in there as well. Some news in my world is that I ordered a new keyboard that arrived this morning. I was very excited. It didn't take long to ship it at all. But when I started it up, it's a Razer keyboard. It's one of the 60% keyboards, so that makes it 60% the size of a regular keyboard, which means you're losing quite a few keys and a bit of real estate that are being sacrificed to make the keyboard smaller. But I think it suits in the context of my desk, because I hate overly large keyboards. They just take up way too much room, and you don't even use many of the keys anyway. In fact, I probably don't even use half the keys on the keyboard of a regular one. So what's the point of it taking up so much space on my desk? But anyway, when the keyboard arrived this morning, the control key wasn't working. So it was catastrophe, a little breakdown, freaked out about it, as though I was going to have to send it back, and whether I was going to be able to capture the keyboard in the warranty, or they were going to refuse it, because I also bought one of the refurbished models because it's cheaper, and generally I don't ever have an issue with buying refurbished models. I think it's probably the best way to buy technology and devices is if you buy the refurbished model. Generally it's just a problem with the packaging and not the actual item itself. They're not going to sell you something that's defective or faulty. It's just a problem with how it was packaged in production, and then they put it into a basket that it is not with everything that's at full retail price. And so the piece of technology will go through all of the checks and balances, and it'll pass everything. It's just when it gets to the packaging stage or something, like the box is damaged, or I don't know. So you can often get 30% off on full retail price goods, technology goods, and you are no worse off, because the item is just as good. And most people cosmetically care about packaging and stuff like that. which I find absurd because you're just going to tear the packaging away and then use whatever's in the box and throw the packaging out like within the first 5 minutes of the purchase. But that is what's new in my world. And then, you know, the control key wasn't working. I installed, like, was able to find some new drivers on the internet, and magically once I downloaded those and restarted my computer, it just started working again. So I have absolutely not the slightest clue what was happening up until that point, but it appears to be working now. And we got almost 3 stacks. That's pretty good. I also have the saplings. Saplings will be important. Fortunately, there's no Lorax around here because I have just completely deforested this area. And if there were any orangutans in the trees, then unfortunately I've deprived them of a home. But I don't think there was anything around here anyway. And I'm the only person in this world, so it's a fairly minor in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, like you might be thinking I'm going a bit overkill with the amount of spruce wood that I'm gathering right now, but I don't think I am, because I plan on just collecting a whole bunch and then putting it out of my mind, so I never have to, well, I will have to think about it at some point again, but not in the near future at least, and certainly not for the construction of this house. Yeah, my house is not going to be the only build that I make in the world, but it will be one of them, and it will be the major one in the near future. And then I can look at the pipeline of what's on the horizon after that. Okay, I think I'm going to travel over there, and I'm pretty happy with what I have at the moment. I'm going to leave this little area, and then I'm going to head back home after this. Hopefully on the way, I'm going to be able to kill... I keep saying the word kill. I just don't like using that word. It sounds like far too extreme and disproportionate to what I'm trying to do, which is just like get food so I don't starve. But yeah, I'm going to be politely terminating the life of a few animals because I'm running desperately low on food. Oh my god, that just took the life out of me. What is that thing? That is terrifying, and now I can't hit it. Yeah, see, this is why it pays to keep in touch with what the updates are, so you don't get the absolute life scared out of you by these new mobs. And I can't even hit this thing. Oh man, that belted me from pillar to post. It's kind of not doing that much damage. And also like gathered some pale moss block, which is, I don't know even what the point of this is, but I think it might be upset with me because I was like stripping resources from the ground, and I also want to grab a bit of this wood as well, and hopefully I can get a sapling so I can start planting this back at the home. But yeah, I'm really not familiar with whatever this biome is, or whatever that mob was. I've seen it before. I know I've seen it, but I don't know what it is, what it does, how to kill it, whether it's friendly, whether it's something I should be like mortally afraid of. So far, so good. Yeah, lopped that tree and still kind of staring at me. I've tried to inflict any sort of damage, and every time you attack it, it seems to like create this sort of like particle effect, and like back to the center, I suppose, of the woods. I think because I'm like lurking around the edge, it seems to be okay with me, but as I get further in, then that is problematic. I'm gonna try and like make a run for it to see if that does anything. If there are multiple of them, then that's kind of terrifying, and I think that might create more issues. But I'm really intrigued to see what is... Oh boy, okay. Damn. Catches up very quickly, that's for sure. As if a creeper exploded near it. Didn't seem to do much. Yeah, okay, I think I might just play it safe, and I'm not gonna mess around any longer. I'm gonna head back in the direction that I came from, and oh, this is a cool looking flower. Seems to be in the style of whatever that wooden creature that was like rotted away or something. Anyway, where was the... Oh, there's a village. There is a village. I'm most intrigued to go over there and explore. We have arrived. This is a really interesting area, and I think the question has... Oh, okay. That broke. I thought that would yield, but it broke. Yeah, the question's been answered as to how large this biome is. It seems pretty big. It seems pretty large. Goes off in that direction. Considering how far away from home that I am, I'm probably just gonna start like destroying things and tearing this up, so I can take as many resources back with me as I can. You know, I'm gonna leave these poor villagers their home. I'm not gonna be that cruel, but I'm gonna take quite a bit, including food, which I'm really, really hopeful and optimistic that they will have something available for me by way of food. Looks pretty cozy, not gonna lie. Looks pretty cozy. Oh, whoops. I just pulled him out of bed. I didn't mean that. Go back to sleep, my friend. So you can go back to bed. Got an emerald. I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna put a bunch of things in here, actually. Charcoal. Sweet berries. Yeah, I stole a bunch of berries as well. Increasingly finding that seeds is important because I'm trying to grow some crops. There's a child in there. I feel weird being on the edge of this village with a child. I'm gonna leave. And why do they just not close their doors? That just seems like a bit of an oversight. Anything could walk in here at night. Anything, seriously. These woods aren't protected. Really love the architecture. Really love what they're going for down here. Must be like a librarian or something. Okay, yeah. Really getting into it. See, this is what I mean. I'm kind of stealing their books. It's a weird thing to take as far as like pillaging a village is. I have to be one of the first like pillagers or like plunderers of a village in history who takes their wisdom, who kind of like strips the books from the shelf. Like if you think of the Vikings, I don't think when they came to England and the monasteries that lined the English coastline, like Lindisfarne and some of the other places, but they were so interested in taking their books, which were mostly printed in Latin, because they didn't speak the language, and they actually didn't have a style and a tradition of writing as others did around Europe, particularly West Europe and England and Germany and France, for instance. The Northmen, that's what they were after, but I broke with that tradition, not that I'm a Northman, by taking the books. What a fascinating inversion. And this guy's like, is he like imprisoned in there? Kind of confused by what's going on. Looks like he's in a bath. I can't put the saddle in the bundle. Weird. Oh. Boy, someone's going to work out there. He's just chilling. I'm going to take these as well, because these things are very expensive to make, and I use this spruce trapdoor in my builds all the time. It's perhaps one of my most used blocks. So I'm going to gather those. Well, it's not probably the most used, but in terms of decorations, I think it looks really nice. And I know that you can... Okay, yeah, I feel like they're trapped. I feel like they can't escape, because I know farm animals can't escape from trapdoors. So I can. I, as the player, am able to. I can't put that in there. I can't put... Weird how some items you can put, others you can't. That's fine. I just have to make do with what I can. And I'm going to put... Okay, yeah, you can't put tools or anything that like seems to be pretty large. I feel like it's not safe for them to be out there hanging around the zombies. Wow, pretty good representation of items. This is, I think there was a village that I raided in the first episode, and that had absolutely nothing in it by way of like items and chests and treasures. This has proved pretty good. I would like to find if they have a potato crop, because that really would be the cherry on the cake if they have a potato crop. Okay, I have been gathering plenty of this mossy cobblestone. I think this is a block that you can craft. There is a recipe for it in the modern game. There certainly used to not be. But to save me the time of having to kind of do that research in the background, I've just collected like quite a bit of it here. I'm going to put some of it away in the meantime. I'm going to make my way back now. I feel like I've taken each opportunity that I can in this area of the world. I could really, I think this is in the wrong direction. Look how cool these wolves look. They're like dark colored. At first I thought there was like an issue with the shadows or the lighting, but that's actually the color of the wolf. It's like a black wolf now. Really, really cool. Yeah, so I thought perhaps I would run back in the other direction, which I believe is that way, but I have to look at the coordinates again. I have 20 bread. I hope that should be enough to help me last, and I'm gonna again get some animals along the way. This is a really cool area. Boy, I do think it'll be cool, perhaps not to build like a permanent settlement here, but like at least something, because this is such a unique forest, and it almost looks like it wasn't generated naturally by Minecraft, but someone came through here and terraformed this, and did something that was more custom. And there's a different wolf over there now. So really diverse range of wolves and animals available. Yeah, this is just, it's like the plains of the new world, I suppose. Like I'm imagining myself some settler in Canada or something looking out. Kind of like gives me an impression of The Revenant and that film, that aesthetic. It's Revenant-esque around here. But I'm going to be running back home and seeing you back at headquarters. Look at the infinite beauty of this world. I'm probably going to make a boat because it looks like a really interesting like valley, sort of crevice area in these mountains to traverse down the river in a boat. And then it's kind of dark out now, but you can just see the mountain over there. And I've left that tiger biome I was in previously and making my way gently back south where my home is. Oh, okay. Maybe this more a tiger biome kind of like brings around. So I don't really remember this area, which doesn't fill me with comfort, and I don't have a compass either. Maybe I'm lost. No, I have the coordinate system that I can deploy in a moment of emergency. But it is just something kind of nice to just explore. And what is that fox doing? I don't think it's dinner or whatever it's searching for is going to be found out there. I'm not interested in tangling with the guy who has tridents in the water. How has he even like picked me up from that far away? I mean, decent sort of, not getting far away from hitting me, however far that thing is. The drowned, those do a lot of damage, and on hard mode I'm not interested in finding out just how much it's going to do to me. It's about put me away for life, if that's the case. Yeah, I'm not playing on hardcore, so if I die, it'll be a major nuisance. It'll be supremely inconvenient, but it's not going to like send me back to the dark ages or like make me create a new world, because that would just be so demoralizing if I had to get to that point. Fortunately, not to be. Well, I am back home. I've made the journey home, and yeah, you might also note, dear viewer, that there have been some new refurbishments to the home, to the property in question. Got the layout now down pat, removed the oak logs as the structure wasn't really doing it for me, and you'll also note I've imprisoned chickens into my impromptu little fence area. And then, as a matter of course, I'm going to show you this like hole that I've dug out down here. I intend on creating a rail system. It kind of goes pretty deeply, and then I found a cave at the very bottom of it, which I'm a bit apprehensive to explore as I just went caving in the last episode. But yeah, so there have been changes. Changes are on the way, and I've got all of the animals that I killed that are now cooking in the smoker. I'm going to, I suppose, just continue with the build in the interim, as it's kind of like the series is getting depressingly on. I'm almost at episode 5 now, and I don't even have a home yet, which in the realm of, I like to call it Minecraft-inflation, a term that I wouldn't be imagine that I'm the first person to use Minecraft-inflation, but if you have any idea what I'm referring to, it is how a topic that I've been thinking about for the past few episodes. And one of the reasons why I created this channel is because how quickly people move along in their survival worlds and their worlds in general. That leaf just entered into like the entire frame of my screen. But how quickly people move along, and everything just keeps getting bigger and bigger and better and more impressive. And it's time we slow things down. You know, we're in no rush to create something, but then at the same time, I don't want to be like dragging my heels. So what this is going to look like, this is kind of like the base that I built out, and then I'm going to put wood on top of this. I promise you, bear with me. I think it's going to look pretty good. This wall is really large, so I think I'm going to do something about this. Just like break up the sort of shapes that I'm using, so it's not just one big long wall, because that kind of makes it difficult to look as nice. That won't look terrible. And this, I believe, is going to be the entrance, or the primary entrance at least, is going to be a back door. That's for certain, because I think the majority of work I'll be doing is out back. But it's going to kind of, I think I might put the entrance here, and you're going to be able to walk down to the water, where I'm going to build out like some sort of features along here that's going to make this look nicer. I even might like build it up a bit, some of the grass area, so there is a bit of like an escarpment that you can stand out and look down across the river from either direction. I don't mind the fact that what are all these salmon doing here? They're like congregating as a council of salmon. I just destroyed one of my crops. That's fantastic. Council of Salmon, they're observing the growth of my potato crops. I think they're rather impressed by it, if you ask me. But that's neither here, that's neither there. This is where I suppose the door is going to go. I don't really like how I kind of perhaps like didn't get the proportions exactly right for some elements. But that honestly doesn't really matter. It's not perfection that we're going for, it's imperfection. I think it's when things are imperfect that they look their best. So it's not overly polished. You'll also see that I broke with the conviction that I wasn't going to create a bed, because I was getting swarmed by the phantom mob, which is something I didn't actually anticipate happening. It kind of was something I completely forgot. I still haven't eaten that salmon. Something I completely forgot that mob even existed in the game. Oh boy, I almost looked at that Enderman. So yeah, kind of spoiled my dreams. Rather annoying, but honestly, it's a good excuse to get a bed. if I'm being blunt. So I'm gonna get started with this home. I'm gonna do that off camera, because it'll be boring to the point of judgery, and my viewer retention, however terrible it is right now, will just like fall to the ground once people see me like placing block after block and then destroying it because I don't like how it looks, and then trying it again. And we will get on with that right now. Well, I have done a rather substantial amount of work off camera, and you will note I've gotten my house somewhat up to scratch. Now, I'm already progressed to the stage of installing the roof. The only difficulty that I've encountered with this is that it's rather precarious up there to try and get the design of the roof exactly accurate, as I think it's quite asymmetrical. It looks alright from this angle, but it's difficult to tell. So I'm going to have to try and find some scaffolding, which I think is up this way. I'll be able to get some bamboo, And yeah, okay, it's very rough at the moment. There's still many improvements that I want to make to kind of build it out and give it that look of fullness. But you can see the seeds of what it will look like. Hopefully it will grow into a very strong and prosperous tree, unlike now, which is difficult to see. The vision that I have in my brain. Scaffolding, I believe, requires bamboo, and I used to have bamboo in my inventory, but I threw it away because I was on a mining expedition and had limited spaces to accommodate it. There is the boat from before, that was from ages ago. Yeah, I'm just going to cut down a bunch of bamboo. I don't know if I'm going to bring it back with me to my base and like have a bamboo plantation, though I do know that it grows like a weed. You don't really need that much of it. Actually, I think I'm just going to leave the boat there. But when it's time for me to make a runaway get out, I'm just going to cut it all down. Also, the recipe for scaffolding kind of eludes me, but I'll think about it further. And there's an ocelot. Okay, if I'm ever in need of a cat, I know where to find one. Remember back in the early days of Minecraft when ocelots were incredibly rare to find. Not incredibly rare, like if you went to a jungle you could expect to see one, but you'd just have to walk around for a good long while and hope to get lucky at some point. Nowadays, I think it's the barriers for finding an ocelot are much smaller, and you can even find them in villages nowadays, because I know that cats, I think they're tamed, no, they're not tamed, but they're different variants of cats that you can find in villages. I suppose there are also parakeets and lorikeets and parrots that I can look out for as well in the jungle biome. And I'm going to grab these melons, because why not? While I'm here, there may be a time in the future I make potions to make something out of the melons. And there's a parrot there, actually. I'm going to try and take one back. Two of them. I get a choice. I have options at my disposal. I'm going to need enough seeds. I'm not going to have another incident with the dog where I just don't have enough of the item required to tame it, and you kind of get it halfway. It's always a bit of a gamble as well. You never know how much the mob in question is going to want before it accepts your trust. And 10, I should hope, is enough. I might even have enough to get 2 of them, which would be cool. I like to collect as many variants as I can. I think there were like 4 or 5 parrots. If I could just find where they went. Which is here. Very cool. I like this one. Get out of the way. There we go. I might be able to tame this as well. I did not have enough. And it's a hungry parrot, as we like to say. The animals in this game are very hungry. Requires a lot of bribery. Not just like 7 or 8 seeds, however many you gave it then, but it's like pushing. Okay, this is like pushing a dozen. Boy. Alright, that should surely be enough. It should surely be enough. Still, okay. Okay. It's a taskmaster. It's not gonna let me get away with one easy, that's for sure. Alright. Sir Parrot, do you trust me? That is the question. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I accidentally left clicked. I should have tried to right click. I probably just like all the progress that I made with all these seeds has just been undone. Yeah, I don't, like, is there like a science to taming parrots in Minecraft? Like, am I missing something? Or I feel like I've destroyed. Okay, there we go. There would have been like almost 20, if not more. But that should be sufficient. And I'm going to try and find where all that bamboo was from earlier. Also regretting that I did not destroy my boat and take it with me, because that would make it easier to get across here. I think the boat's just here though. Not far from where I am, at least. Haha, and this is what I was looking for. By the looks of things, when it rains it pours, that's for sure. There is absolutely no shortage of bamboo over here, and there's even a panda. which is pretty sweet. I see that my axe is almost completely depleted. Should it be the biggest issue? Because I just need to do this a couple times. And the entire thing will collapse. Yeah, like that. That is fantastic. Alright, that should be enough. And I think you can also destroy the scaffolding and then it'll quickly drop as well. So I'll be able to make infinite use out of whatever bamboo I have here. I am on my way home. Parrot is one of them missing. The other is in the boat. Okay, there it is. I think sometimes your mobs don't follow you if you take off in a certain direction in a boat and then you find new land for whatever reason. They just like don't teleport, so very wary of that. And I've lost many animals in the past, or like pets of mine, simply because I've taken off and then forgotten which direction I've come from, and then they've just been stranded there alone for the rest of time. I also left a little beacon here as a marker for where I need to go in case I had to travel too far. Sometimes handy to do in your survival worlds. I feel like that's a very like original strategy. One of the habits I picked up when I first started playing this game. Just modern players don't understand just how difficult it was to navigate Minecraft, how easily you could get lost in your world because you didn't have the sort of features available in the modern game to be able to get back to where you came from. And so people do stuff like that. Towers and torches and everything in between. I think it's up here. But I actually might lay another waypoint for myself just to ensure I really know what I'm for future reference. But as I play this world more often, I'm also of the hope that it will become increasingly more familiar. Everything. It's pretty high. Maybe I'll in the future I'll come back and beautify it and make it look nicer than what it is at the moment. Come to me, my children. Yes, there we go. Yeah, it does look rather ugly at the moment, but it serves its purpose. Practicality over form. Function over beauty. And we are traveling up the narrow river to my home, which should be just right here to my side. And we'll get another look at the house. What is that? There's salmon and piece of bone meal. It's just bizarrely dropped on the floor. Great. Yeah, so this is what we have so far. Looking pretty cozy. I still have a lot of work to do with it, obviously, and I've kind of also built into this part. I never anticipated that the house would be this large, though in the theme of Minecraftflation, I decided that if I really was going to make a nice home that I was going to see myself out through, then it's cozy enough. It's not too large, but something that was substantial and would give me the ability to have multiple rooms, to customize those rooms, build out an interior without having a single room. So often in the past I've made houses and I've thought that I've made it large enough, but then you walk on the inside and it's literally nothing whatsoever. You have like a 7 by 11 space and you can't fit everything, especially as you have more and more items that require storage. So I'm going to do the majority of that work off camera. I have enough wheat seeds to get started on propagating my chickens. And I think that I'm going to call this one to an end. I thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode if you're so inclined. My name is Sam or Cobblestone, and have a good day.